Hi, everybody. Welcome to Buffalo Brief. I'm Kelsey Anderson.
And I'm Dave Graber.
We have a really nice story.
Yeah, we do.
To start this week. It just will warm your
so.
heart.
Yeah.
And in a world of maybe, tariffs and all of this stuff that is making everything harder for tradespeople to get their goods and maybe making it elongated if you need something built or a renovation on your house.
True.
This is really impressive.
Yeah. What they're able to do in a very short amount of time and who they're doing it for, of course.
So this is A Soldier's Journey Home. This is a national organization that we're bringing in now. They are uniting first responders, veterans, tradespeople, businesses, and community volunteers to build a house for a local vet in 2 weeks.
It's pretty incredible.
In 2 weeks. And they already have their plot of land all set. It's in West Falls, and they will build over the course of 2 weeks at the end of May. So let's bring in Todd and Sean Crotty. Todd, you are from that organization. Thank you for coming in to explain a little bit more. Sean, you are local. Thank you for explaining how this will impact us on a local scale here and how exciting this is for Western New York. We really
thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Welcome, guys. It was kind of funny. Before we started, we were talking to Todd, and I said, well, okay, so you're looking at, the 18th through the 30th of May. I'm thinking there could be, some storms or maybe some rain. So, weather permitting, you guys will be done by May 30th. Todd said, absolutely not. And I said, oh, okay, so maybe it does. No. Regardless of whatever the time is, it will be done on deadline, if not before. So it's great to see you guys and great to hear about this organization. Todd, give us a little background on what you guys do and how you're able to accomplish this feat time and time again for our heroes.
An amazing team, an amazing group of individuals, an amazing group of volunteers. 26 states are where all of our volunteers come in from, all across the country. Washington, Florida, New York, Texas, we're all across the country. We've done 12 house builds in just as many years because there isn't a single person in an organization that makes a penny, that makes a dollar. In fact, all of our volunteers have to use their own personal vacation time, paid time off. And we enjoy, we started in the aftermath of 9/11. Our FDNY volunteers who are still with the organization wanted to give back to all the people that were helping them during that time. And so they were doing a lot of local rehabs, local projects, and after years of doing that, they realized we've got a pretty strong crew here. Met up with some Louisiana firefighters from Katrina and said, we got a really strong group here. Maybe we could kind of do something on our own here. And like I said, here we are 12 years later, as you're looking at some of that footage of last year with Georgia's build. 12 years later, we've built in 10 different states. Wow. So this is our first build in New York, which we're really excited about.
First in all of the state.
First time in New York.
Wow.
Yes, sir. And
even though this was born from or after 9/11.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We've been pretty much all east of the Mississippi. We did build in Texas one year. We've built in Georgia 2 times. We've built in Tennessee 2 times. But again, first time here in New York. We like to call it organized chaos.
Yeah.
And that when you've got 80 to 100 volunteers on site every day, everyone's got a job, everybody's got a mission for the morning, for the afternoon, for the day, for the week. And what we probably all realize through our own living in our house and having houses built, trades don't usually work well with one another. But for 2 weeks straight, our trades are all on top of each other, helping each other. The plumber will put down his tool to help out the electrician, and that's the only way you can get something like this done in the 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they really do have to work alongside one another.
Yeah.
Usually it's, you bring in the electrician, he stays for a couple weeks, he or she, and then
Exactly.
the plumber comes in, does their work. Sean, how are you involved in this organization?
So I received a call in the middle of 2025 and said, hey, I got this opportunity for you. And my New Year's resolution for 2025 was to learn to say the word no more. And
You do say yes an awful lot.
I do. So my buddy who's from here originally is a New York City firefighter. He's a lieutenant. And he said, hey, one of my caps on the job is the president of this organization really think you're going to be able to relate to. So I said, okay, I'll listen. So I started to say no, but then he started, saying Newman, like, a Seinfeld episode. And I couldn't say no. I know once I heard the story and saw what great things and remarkable relationships and just the impact that we have on, the ability to make And I just said, okay, let me know what I need to do. So I want to know clearly what my expectation is. And then they laid it out. We had a really good meeting. Our first meeting with the organization, we went on the Cotter. I was working a shift in the Cotter. I said, come on, guys, let's go on the fireboat. So, and then from there, my job, is to connect dots and to really, really look at, what's going on, what do we need to get done, and how we're going to do that. So being that, like Todd said, most of the organization's directors are from out of state, they needed somebody locally, boots on the ground to just connect dots and kind of rally things around here in their absence. And that's where I filled in. So
thank you for saying yes, because
Sure.
this is an amazing opportunity for someone here locally to get a full mortgage-free home.
Huge. Absolutely incredible.
it really is. And my mantra always has been through the winter storms we had, or whatever has been thrown in Western New York's, face, in the face of adversity. I think when things are at their worst, we are at our best in Western New York. And this is another example. Things aren't terrible, but I know that they're going to step up, and the Western New York community is really embracing this as we move forward and get closer. It's more and more exciting.
Yeah.
Sean, you're one of those guys in the services that, as a first responder, you were so involved in the community. I feel like we're talking to you for all kinds of things, whether it's on the scene of a breaking news event in the South Towns or wherever it is. You're often there, but you also give so much of your time back. When you said yes to this and you started to learn more about this, why was this such a good fit for you? And for all that you do for the community, why does this kind of fit into that niche as well?
Well, it's somebody that selflessly gave left the confines of their home, and I'm a suburban guy, and in the suburbs of Buffalo, and Nathan is from the suburbs of Buffalo, my next door neighbor, the next town over, and he left the comfy confines of Western New York to defend his country and to stand for what he believed in, and the sacrifices that he made, and now he's back stateside, and it's really the least that we can do to help and to give back, and that's what it's about. Is really you have the opportunity and the means to do it, and it just is it's the right thing to do, and it just feels really good, and to see the Western New York community embrace it. In Hamburg we're kind of like their home base. They're going to be staying. The volunteers are going to be their home bases in Hamburg, and we're trying to make them feel at home when they're giving up a week of their own time to come in and help build a home for one of our heroes.
Sean, you just mentioned Nathan. We want to talk about Nathan.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan is kind of waiting in the wings. We will introduce you to Nathan coming up after we speak to these guys. He is the next recipient. He is the one you are building for in West Falls. Todd, will you tell us a little bit about Nathan, his story, how you found out about him, why you want to build this house for him, and his wife is also here as well.
Yes, Nathan and Veronica are an absolutely beautiful story. All of our recipients have fantastic stories with their own entities to them. Nathan's is a little bit different in that he's also in a rock band. And so we got wind of Nathan. We work with the Semper Fi Foundation to help do some of our preliminary vetting. And as I'd said, we've built 12 houses in 10 different states. We kind of like the chaos of moving around, getting comfortable in one area, throwing it in the trash bin, and going and starting all over again. So when Nathan's application came across to us, and it was in New York, and actually I think as soon as we got his name, we looked up the band and watched some concert footage, and we said, "Are you kidding me? Like this is
Gotta do this guy."
is absolutely perfect." And his story with his wife Veronica is a beautiful story as well, and being a hometown boy here in West Falls. Again, he's almost got a full circle story as well as going back to home. So we're really excited to be able to get him back in the West Falls area.
And the name of his band is something that resonates with our region. It's the resilience.
Nice.
The amount of resiliency that our community has faced and and demonstrated over the course of the last handful of years. From our storms to the tragedies that have happened.
Yeah.
Really, our community is about resiliency, and their band called The Resilience.
Fits
And
very nicely.
he is resilient.
And he, obviously.
Absolutely.
He's an Army specialist. We'll talk to him coming up in just a few minutes here.
It occurred to me sort of the logistics of all of this as well are just as important as sort of the act in and of itself. How many volunteers are we talking about? And I imagine as you move these massive teams in and teams out, the community benefits because they're staying there for a week. They're spending their money.
2 weeks.
They're 2 weeks. They're doing their stuff. I mean, that's got to be a benefit for each community they go into. But I imagine it's also a lot of logistics. And is that where you come in on that?
Connecting dots.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been gratifying being involved in that because you get to see some really, really, again, the key community partners that step up and, time and time again and seeing them do so willingly and not just, like, oh yeah, I'll do that. It's like, oh yeah, I want, I make a phone call Friday afternoon. One of the guys called and said, we need a crane. Okay.
Done.
Yeah. Done.
Do you want to talk about any of those folks who have lended their time? If you'd like to give them some recognition, because now is the time to do it. I mean, if folks are stepping up in the way that you're saying, please, if you feel comfortable.
The Scott Bueller Foundation, the Family Foundation, Scott Bueller, a pillar of our community. Sure. Fingerprints on so many important projects. Dry Creek Marketing Group, they're demonstrating, they're connecting a lot of dots as well. Yep. Between Brian and myself, we have we cover quite a few bases, which is great. We're engaging some of the big community partners like Hamburg Overhead Doors, donating their garage doors and garage door openers. So all these businesses that we reach out to and connect with, it's not if they want to be involved, it's what can we do. And so many people have said, what can we do?
That's great.
So we're steering them towards the website. And we'll have, there's so many people that want to lend help, in addition to the volunteers that the organization brings. But the last thing we want to do is have 200 people that are sitting in their hands and nothing for them to do because that's discouraging. So we're trying to really look at what, objectives need to be done on what days and make sure we have the right mix of people. Because you don't need me showing up on a day when, my skill sets can't be used.
Yeah.
So, Todd, what do you generally need from folks in a community that you come to? Do you need people dropping off donated food or catering to some of these crews, that sort of thing? And again, give the website that you're trying to push people toward so that Sean isn't so overwhelmed with all of these locals reaching out.
Yeah, you can reach us at asjh4vets.org. Talking about the logistics and the advanced trips. Yeah, I mean, this is my 4th time here already.
Is that right?
And that's what allows these builds to happen in 2 weeks. And having boots on the ground with Scott is huge for us. We're at a spot as an organization that we are pretty set on volunteers.
Okay. Good.
It's really a matter of some in-kind donations as we're trying to finish the house.
Sure.
With some of the couches and
furniture,
and
stuff like that. Yeah. Got
it. Food is always big for us. We have a food tent. Our Columbus, Ohio fire crew. They cook breakfast and lunch every day on site.
That's cool.
For 100 volunteers. But they will always enjoy maybe getting a breakfast off or a lunch off if somebody wants to come by and drop stuff off. Dinner times are usually on our own. We are, what hotel are we at again, Sean?
You're at the Holiday Inn Express on Commerce.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. He's actually helped us out. We'll have a big tent there. Nice. And sometimes, local people hear that we're there and they'll send some pizzas there and we'll get to eat pizzas under there and,
and
have
we have
a bonfire.
the best pizza. You are not going to want pizza anywhere else after you've had Buffalo pizza.
Uh-oh. I'm the Chicago guy. guy.
Okay. It's different. It's better.
We'll get them all the whole spectrum of the pizza that we have here.
The wings.
But we have adjacent to the hotel facility is town property, so that's where we're going to set up the tent, and the town is stepping up. And the town of Hamburg is very involved in the veteran community, so our town supervisor is very, very supportive of it, as well as our veterans organizations that we work with, and I work with them very closely, like with the 9/11 program that we run every year. So they're really just embracing the project and the town as a whole.
That's great.
Todd, I would before we meet Nathan here, I want you to talk about the past recipients. Who are these folks, and what have they said that the weight lifted, something that this has done for them? The last gentleman we saw, he was in a wheelchair, and it looked like he had a bunch of wheelchair accessible items that you guys built in the house for him. Just explain what this means to these heroes.
Yeah, actually, it's a great timing for that question. We actually had a Zoom meeting Saturday morning with some of our past recipients. We're at a spot in organization now, 12 years, that we have the resources, and we have the time to where we have started to create an ambassador program in which these are our past recipients working with each other to try to provide some relief mentally, physically, emotionally. As we always say, we don't know what it's like to receive a house, right? And so we come in here, we build this house, we leave them, and we think we set them up for success. But there's easily going to be a couple of steps backwards or some pitfalls in becoming a house owner. For example, as you'll hear from Nathan's going from, an apartment to a 3,000 square foot house, so that there's going to be a big adjustment in that. So we had some of our past recipients, and Nathan was able to jump on as well on a Zoom call talking about building out this ambassador program. We'll have 3 or 4 of our past recipients at this year's ceremony, including next year's recipients.
Nice.
And just creating a community for our recipients to know that they're not alone after that build. So Nathan and Veronica got to meet 2 of our past recipients on Saturday via Zoom. And I might be putting words in their mouth right now, but them getting to hear from last year's recipient and seeing the smile on his face and hearing his kids in the background running around and the chimes of the back door, I think I saw a couple smiles on Nathan and Veronica's face, understanding that, hey, this is real. There's a lot of skepticism, I could imagine, behind this. The first time we came out to see Nathan and Veronica and, hey, this is what we're going to do. A lot of times it's okay, what's the catch?
Yeah.
All right, what's the catch? So being able to surround them with past recipients and realize, oh, wait, there isn't a catch here. This is nothing but love, respect, and admiration, and letting them feel comfortable with our crew that we've got their best interests at heart.
That's great. What a smart thing for you guys to do to improve an already incredible program. To have that support after they move in is something that maybe you wouldn't think of, or that you just kind of went through this sort of mental exercise. Oh, they'll be fine. No, maybe they won't be. And just in case they're not, let us also support you after that. Right. That's fantastic.
Amen.
Really good decision, man.
Amen. I
Really
appreciate
smart.
that.
Yeah, it's great. Well,
Right,
I want to
let's
meet.
meet him.
I want to meet Nathan. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You guys, thank you for this, Sean. As
Yeah.
always, man. Thank you for what you do for our community.
Thanks for having us.
So
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Todd.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
Sean.
Thank you.
Yep.
We will meet Nathan coming up. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are now joined by Nathan Kalwicki, the recipient of this year's mortgage-free home from A Soldier's Journey Home. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. When did you first hear from A Soldier's Journey Home, and what did you first think? Did you think this is too good to be true? This is a little scammy type situation,
scammy.
or had you heard about it before?
So it was actually not a real long time. It was probably like August, I want to say, of 2025, around that time frame, maybe a little bit before. But it came about through, from my perspective, another organization called Semper Fi, America's Fund, and they're another great organization. So basically, my case manager there, they sort of have people that you can go to and ask all kinds of military, like veteran-related questions, and they'll point you in the right direction, or sometimes they just like do it for you. So it's really good. But anyways, they asked me if I wanted a service dog, and I was like, that would be cool, but my wife and I live in 700 square foot apartment, and I just wouldn't feel comfortable with a service dog in that tight of a space. So I was like, maybe in the future, when we get something else. And then maybe 15 minutes passed, and she texted me back, and she's like, "Are you interested in getting a house built?" I was like, actually, yeah.
Yes to that one.
I mean, it's something in the world that I've experienced being a wounded veteran. It sort of takes you down a different path than, say, the typical veteran that goes, maybe 20 years or just does their time and gets out. So I went through this military hospital experience where you get exposed to all these different organizations. So I sort of seen maybe the possibility, like in the back of my mind, I've seen other guys, like some of my friends, I've seen them go through a process similar, but for the longest time I don't think in a mind frame where I could accept something like that. I didn't feel like I needed it or I was deserving of it. So, fast forward, 10 plus years, I was sort of in the mind state where I did see the value in it. I can sort of see myself like, all right, I'm not 22 years old anymore. I'm sort of like feeling every step I take. I'm on crutches when I should probably be in a wheelchair. Those little things. So I said, yeah, I am interested actually. And then she connected me with the people from A Soldier's Journey Home, Sharon. She's like the sort of like admin, like head. So it was the first contact I had there, and she said, well, we fill out this, paperwork, kind of a little bit of a vetting process. Like, no, she's, don't be offended. This is just what we have to do to kind of make sure that you're legit and your story checks out. There could be people trying to take advantage. Right. So I was like, no problem. And then pretty quickly after, she told me there was 2 guys from the organization that wanted to come out and just sort of meet me in person and kind of put a face to a name, and they were big about that. So they sent the president and vice president. They sent Brian Fitzpatrick and Chris Ganther out, and they sort of kind of 2 like big, like firemen, cool guys. One, Chris, he's a Southern. It's like a real Southern. Got that sense of humor. Can make light of any situation, kill people with kindness, kind of thing. So they came out and they just met me and my wife for breakfast, and we sort of just talked and got to know each other a little bit. And he heard my story, and I heard a bit about what they do. And maybe there was a little skepticism at first, but quickly I think that started to fade away when it just kind of got to, you can kind of see through people when you're around them, and the stories that I was hearing, everything was just, it was overwhelming, but I don't think I had that sort of skepticism like maybe some people might have. I was just going with the flow and trusting in them. Yeah.
Nathan, first of all, thank you again for your service. Can you tell us about your service and how you became wounded?
Yeah, so I was in the Army, the U.S. Army. I joined in 2010, pretty much right after high school. I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was not maybe, the biggest into school, like high school. I was kind of like, I liked music, but I didn't enjoy like math and things like that. So I tried the college route a little bit, and it didn't really work out. And my parents were basically like, well, you got to make a decision here. You got to get a job and contribute, or, just you're going to have to get out. So I was like, the Army. I had a cousin that lived with us briefly. My mom sort of like adopted her. My parents sort of adopted her, and she was 4 years older. She went into the Army early on in the Iraq War, like 2003, 2004. And so that she might have had a little bit of influence seeing like her get out. She was like, after she did her deployment in Germany and going to school, and seemed like it was doing well for her. I had an uncle that was in the Marines that as a kid I always sort of thought was cool. He was like the guy running around the block when he would visit. He'd be in his shorts, like high and tight, running around the block. So I think there was a little bit of military influence in that way. But I kind of just I think in the back of my mind, I was thinking I needed to change something to kind of get to be the person that I wanted to be. And just staying home and living that life wasn't getting me there. So I joined, and I went to Fort Benning initially, do the basic training and all that stuff, and found myself stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado, with the 4th Infantry Division. And from there, I ended up deploying to Afghanistan in like June 2011. And that was sort of I guess the mission at that point of time in Afghanistan for us was training the Afghan army, so the ANA, and we kind of like basically it'd be like, oh, we come up, we're on a mission, and we go to like a town, and the idea is like patrol through the town, or there's maybe a area of interest, but we would want to get the ANA guys to do it first. We're trying to like get them confidence and be sure that they can do what it is that we want them to do, and that was always a kind of a fun time, you could say. But anyways, about 6 months into the deployment, we were on another of what we just kind of call a routine patrol, not necessarily expecting a relative danger. It's all dangerous over there. Right. There's IEDs and stuff that we had to navigate a lot, but it wasn't particularly a high sort of threat area. So we get there, we link up with the ANA, and we sort of set it's an ANA base. We set our perimeter, like our security perimeter, with our guys, and basically to make a story that could go on forever short, we were meeting at like a little huddle, like a morning huddle, like, okay, you do this, you do that. This is what we're doing for the day. So we were huddled up, and as that huddle broke, before I knew, what happened, I was already like face down in the dirt, and then I hear gunshots, and I'm sort of thinking, oh, what's going on? Like, are we getting overrun? Like, this is very close gunfire. So I kind of like look up, and I can see my guys like running, and there's a ditch, like from like not much farther than from me to you. But I'm like laying there, and I can't really move, just feeling like burning sensations and stuff, and seeing the bullets and flying around me. And I'm like, wow, what's going on? And then, that whole thing probably lasted like less than 30 seconds. I was in pretty bad shape. I was like a, Saving Private Ryan kind of scene. I'm like, tell my mother I love her, and like my team leader's slapping me in the face, and my medic's working on me and stuff, but I'm sort of like in shock or something.
Yeah.
So I'm not like taking it all in. But so they patch me up, and then eventually carry me off to a helicopter. And there's these guys that I think of as, they kind of look like Darth Vader or stormtroopers, the dark stormtroopers. This is the PJs, the pararescue guys. And then finally I'm like, oh, can you give me something for the pain, basically? And they give me something, and then I wake up about some weeks later at Walter Reed. Wow. And my dad, I think, was there beside me, and it's kind of like, like I'm kind of just, I think there's a picture that's been going around, like I'm just like hooked up to all these tubes, like can barely move, and just like, this is what happened. You were in Afghanistan, you got shot, and as a result, you lost your leg. And sort of, I'm like, oh wow, that's seems like a lot, and now I'm just gonna go back to La La Land for whatever. And so that started a new type of a mission, I guess, aside from what I was doing as like an infantry guy in the Army.
Yeah. Wow.
That's incredible.
Thank you for
sharing that, Nick.
sharing that. I want to say, before we even started, I said to him, you don't have to share this whole journey, your whole story. I don't want to bring you back to a dark place. And you said, I'm okay sharing that story. So we appreciate that. Unfortunately, we are coming up at the end of our time here, but we are going to continue telling this story, because we will be out there in West Falls when they start building your house. Yeah. And then we will be there for the last day of the build as well for Buffalo Brief. So I I look forward to that. Yeah, continuing to share your story, the story of a soldier's journey home. And congratulations on getting chosen for this house. You are a wonderful recipient for this. Your wife, Veronica, as well, going from this small apartment to this whole home in West Falls. Congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to say, I'm super grateful to A Soldier's Journey Home, and they're all just wonderful. And the community, sort of coming out, even though I haven't lived here for, so long, it's great.
Once a hometown boy, always a hometown boy.
Oh yeah, it's a magnet.
And you're
the
very
city of
deserving,
Buffalo.
Nathan. I hope you feel that, man. I hope this community wraps its arms around you and that you and your wife feel that. I really do.
Thank you.
All right, we will continue to follow this story in May when they start
good?
that build. Thank you for joining us for Buffalo Brief. We'll see you tomorrow.